and this week we did 4.9K in revenue. What is up, everyone? It's Ryan again, back with another video. I'm a 20-year-old that co-founded this company with my girlfriend 3 summers ago. I want to be transparent with you guys and show you the realistics of running a landscaping business at 20 years old with a now 6-man crew. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are new to this video or this series, basically all I do, I talk about each job we did throughout the week, Monday through Friday. Today's Friday. We just got done with the entire week. We have nothing booked for the rest of the week. So yeah, but I mean, with further ado, I'll just get right into it. Monday's job was a pretty fun one. They're basically some wood chips that were just laying in this guy's yard after a tree had fallen down and a stump company had grinded it. We went out there, raked it all, spread it all out, and then we threw topsoil down and grass seed. And while my guys did that, I simultaneously trimmed up the thorn bushes a little bit and then installed 2 boxwoods in his front beds. And that was a quick $715 job, really quick and fun. The next day was an interesting job. It was just pulling, like, axing roots out of this guy's grass. Wasn't our favorite job, that's for sure. It was pretty, it was hefty with the work, the labor. I mean, we were just axing. And we moved some other stuff around and got some pine cone out of his rock bed. So it was kind of a cleanup as well. But the biggest part was getting the roots out and stuff, which was a pain. And it was also over here, as you guys know, in Michigan, all my Michiganders, there was a huge heat wave that came through. So it was like 95 and super humid, and me and the boys were dying. So we could only work like 2 hours before we were about to pass out. So that's why we did smaller jobs this week. It was a smaller week. Tuesday's job was $600. And I still have to go up to touch up some stuff. So it's not really like done, but it only took me like 30 minutes on Monday to do that anyways. So Wednesday and Thursday, it was a 2-day job. Very interesting with this job. And honestly, it should have been, if it was quoted correctly, a $3,700 job. But I only quoted it for $2,500. Well, technically I only quoted it for $1,700. So this is kind of the story time of the week. So basically what happened is we had this huge job around this guy's barn. He wanted all of the grass shoveled out, and then we were filling in rocks around this barn. We were laying tarp first, weed preventer, and then while we were doing that in that bed, we were also in his strip along his fence. As you can see from the videos, we had to basically take the tarp. We had to pull all the cedar mulch out. We had to get all of the weeds out, put the tarp down, and then put the cedar chips down. Now, it doesn't sound crazy, but the biggest problem was that 2 of my guys out of my initial 4-man crew, before I got 2 new guys because of the situation, one guy had surgery and another guy was sick. So it was down to just 2 guys. And the biggest problem is that the dump, my dump that I go to, 35 minutes away from the house. And because we're shoveling out super heavy grass and I don't have a dump trailer yet, but good news, I'm about to get one tomorrow. So stay tuned for that video too. But basically, this thing was full with a bunch of heavy grass. So it took me like 15 minutes every single time I would get to the dump to unload it. And then I had to go another 35 minutes back. So all I did back and forth all day was dumps, while my 2 guys shoveled out all of this grass. I mean, think about this. We don't have a skid steer. We're just shoveling out grass for literally 6 hours straight the first day and the first 3 hours of the next day. So it was pretty brutal. And the biggest problem was that it was a catastrophe of events. But basically, the first day we showed up, Wednesday, the egg rocks were dumped at the end of a street, and he wasn't happy about it where it was dumped at. And then on top of that, the egg rock choice, he didn't like it, even though we had talked over the phone and I'd sent him the link with the pictures. But I don't blame him, because the company kind of falsely advertised the egg rock. On the website, they looked more white, and in reality, they were like red and blue and stuff like that. So I don't blame him for that. I had to work something out with the company, though, the supplier, and thankfully they had a guy come out and we all shoveled 2 yards of rocks back into a trailer. That's how we spent our morning. The 4 of us guys, including the guy who helped us from the supplying company, which is super nice of him. That totally sucked. I mean, 2 yards of us breaking our backs just to shovel it right back in because he didn't like the rocks. Once again, I don't blame the client, but then it was one problem after another. Then he wanted the purest white of rock he could get to match his barn. So I sent him a link from Home Depot. It was the white marble rock in bags, 0.5 cubic feet. And I said, it's, $7.50 a bag. So we're going to have to adjust this quote as I buy these bags. And he's like, okay, that's fine. And Fast forward 2 days later, I end up buying 120 of these bags to finish this job, which was, if I added up all the expenses, including the tarp, it was $1,400 that I paid for this job, discluding labor. So on my end, I'm super pissed off. I'm like, I just spent 11 hours, 2 days in a row, stressing at this job, and this dude is giving me a hard time. He didn't want to bump it up. He was like really upset that the price had to change because of the rock price changing. And he said, you know, you're the professional, you should have figured this out beforehand. And it's like, dude, like, you know, we agreed to some stuff over text and we had to change some things. That's what happens sometimes. And like, you know what I mean? How can I be the one to be blamed for rocks being more expensive, especially since I have to go get bagged ones because no one supplies white little rocks. So yeah, I mean, that was just a whole catastrophe. Thankfully, he ended up upping it to $2,500. I was able to negotiate and we were able to get to $2,500. Still not the greatest though. I profited awful from that job. One of my workers who was there both days in a row made more money than me, to give perspective on how awful this job was bid out for me. Which sucked. You know, I ate it. And this is what happens, especially when you're new into this stuff. Like taking on a big rock job like that, I didn't know until now how to actually handle that and really double check, triple confirm with the client that they like the rocks before I get them. Because had he just gone with the cobblestone, it was $60 a yard. He didn't like the cobblestone. Now I'm paying $250 per yard. And you can see already how that can make things screwed. The amount of yards, we needed more anyways. So it totally just got blown out of proportion. That was Wednesday and Thursday. But thankfully Friday, things got a lot better, which was today. We had a returning client. This was a client that we did a 20-yard mulch job a couple months ago for $2.8K. And we did them today for initially $700. We were pulling all their weeds and power washing their back patio. But I upsold her on doing her entire patio, not just the area where the dining table was. And then also upsold her on some other spots with some other weeds. And we pulled all of those weeds and we made it look really nice for her. I didn't get any videos, unfortunately. I totally forgot to. But maybe I can put in some videos of the 20-yard mulch job so you guys can have reference of how big this yard is. We, after all the upsales, it was 1.1K. And if you were to total that, is a little over 4.9K on the week. Not terrible. The profit margins today were great. The profit margins on Monday and Tuesday were great. Wednesday, Thursday, I just want to forget about that, to be honest. But going into next week and going into tomorrow, on the bright side for some of you guys who are subscribed and do watch my videos, I'm replacing this. I found a spot in Michigan that has a 5x8 hydraulic. After all taxes, it's going to be 4.9K, which is hilarious because that's how much revenue we did this week. So just so my IRS agents out there, I will have that amount in my bank account and I will be writing it off for you guys. So anyways, I'm going to be getting that dump trailer tomorrow. I'm super excited about that. It's going to really, really help me start bumping up my revenue streams because everything's going to get a lot more efficient. I'm not going to be breaking my back anymore at the dump anymore. So I'm super excited to replace this $1,000 utility trailer with a $5,000 real deal hydraulic dump trailer. So I'm going to make a video about it too. I'm going to try to record as much as possible tomorrow going to buy that. You know what I mean? It's almost like those videos where people go buy their dream cars, which, you know, one day on this channel, that'll be me. But right now we got to invest in ourselves in the business. So we're getting that dump trailer tomorrow. And then next week, starting Monday, Tuesday, we have our biggest job yet. It's a $4.6 thousand job. And then going to Wednesday, we have a $1.6 thousand job. And I don't have anything else booked up yet, but I might have some estimates. And I might get some jobs of people who usually want me to squeeze them in as soon as possible. So I always make time to squeeze in those last second jobs. As of right now, we're booked up through mid-July, and I'm really excited to keep making videos for you guys. So stay tuned, subscribe, and hit that noti bell if you do like me just kind of sharing the week, giving you the realistics and showing you the jobs we're actually doing. If you do want to actually know how I get all my leads organically, I do it through Facebook posts, but there's a specific way I go about it, a specific template, and there's a specific way that I leverage into these communities to reach over 1 million clients organically. And this is how I got in all my jobs. This is how we've been able to do 25K months the past 2 months, and ongoing. Already booked up 10K into July. So basically over 60,000 in revenue booked, almost 50,000 produced. If you do want to know, go to my Instagram, Ryan_Craigley. Give me a follow and shoot me a DM. and I will for sure send you my marketing blueprint, and we can possibly hop on a call and talk about it. Every day that goes by is a potential day that you're missing out on getting more organic leads. So if you are struggling to get leads, go ahead and shoot me a DM on Instagram. But with that being said, hope y'all stay blessed. Hope y'all are grinding, had a good week as well. And I'll catch y'all in the next video. Deuces.